Thank you, Steve. Danny McManus is here. I think we need a little work on that. Glenn Suter's a defensive back. Now, we rehearsed this about 20 times before going the air, and Suter says, I thought he was twitching. But he finally turned to me and says, you throw that ball in front of me one more time, and I'm going to intercept it, right?
I'm going to take it.
Right. We'll talk football with Eric Tillman, the Renegade. A little different here today. Glenn Suter and Danny McManus in just a minute. Still to come, Mark Lee and Chris Walby with Walby's Warriors. Also, Hugh Campbell, Tom Wilkinson, Dan Kepley live in the studio. Warren Moon from Los Angeles. We will talk about the Edmonton dynasty. Some breaking news. The Canadian Football League finally will name the former president, highly respected Tom Wright, as its new commissioner. That will take place at 4:30 Mountain, 6:30 Eastern. That's in about 2.5 hours from now. I'll have a live report on Saturday night with Ron McLean prior to hockey. Then following Toronto, Philadelphia, prior to the Red Wings and Oilers, Tom Wright, the new commissioner, will join me live here in the studio. Lots to come this afternoon. Right now, let's begin as promised with our panel. Danny, we saw the ball thrown here, albeit a little wobbly. Let's begin talking about quarterbacks. How about Anthony Calvillo and the injury?
Well, I think the biggest thing with Anthony is that they're worried about his ankle. And all he's been doing this whole week has just been icing it and it's just resting. Trying to stay out of the festivities as much as he can. At practice, he's gimping around a little bit, but I know in Anthony, he's going to get out there. Even a chance that he might take an injection to that area just to take some of the pain away. On the other side, you look at Anthony doing some of the stuff that he does for their offense. He is the main guy of the whole deal. Now you look at Lawrence Phillips at practice, moving around a little bit with a sore knee. But one thing that he will bring to the game is just getting tough yards on first down.
Let me ask you, without Anthony Calvillo, can Montreal win this football game?
I don't think so. I think Anthony is the guy. Last week, Don Matthews told us that. I'm riding AC as far as I can. They need him to win this game.
You want the ball?
I'm going to intercept it, take it the other way.
All right. Other big injury here, we talked about Phillips and Calvillo, of course, is the great running back with the Eskimos, John Avery. What is his situation?
Well, John Avery, Brian, hasn't practiced all week long, and that's really not a concern for the Edmonton Eskimos with regards to learning the game plan. Avery knows the plays by now, but it is a concern when it's a hamstring injury. Avery has not run hard on that hamstring since he hurt it in the second half of the West Final. With a hamstring, you have to test it out. You have to see where the limitations are. Combine that with the fact that this field will be icy on game day. It's all a concern for the Edmonton Eskimos, and I think the reason they put Troy Mills on the roster for depth.
Now, I asked about Calvillo. Can the Eskimos win without a real healthy Avery?
My answer is the same as Danny's. I don't think they can. I think John Avery has been the key, over 140 yards rushing in the West Final. He had over 150 yards rushing on 5 different occasions this year. They go when he goes, and if he's hurt, that's big trouble for Edmonton.
Now, players are never concerned about this. General managers are. We talk about injuries. Well, how do you guys adjust a roster? I mean, this presents some intriguing questions.
Yeah, you know, it's just part of the reality with small rosters in the Canadian Football League, and certainly Edmonton had a big decision this week with the uncertainty of John Avery and his hamstring. I think they made the right decision activating Troy Mills. Now, it cost them return specialist Winston October, who's a very talented guy, but it's a testament to their depth. You know, they have guys that can step up, guys like, Vaughn and Mobley and other guys can impact the game, but they have to have the running game. You know, we saw last week the impact of injuries and the effect that they can have on a game with Reggie Slacken when he went down. And as you alluded to in the Anthony Calvillo situation, if Montreal, worst case scenario, develops, AC goes down, I think Montreal's in serious trouble. Conversely, Edmonton has great depth at the most important position on the field, so injuries don't affect them. If Ricky Ray goes down at quarterback, they have every confidence in Jason Moss. Heck, they even have confidence in Bart Hendricks, so that could be a real factor, the health of these quarterbacks.
I know the last 2 Grey Cup winners have been 8 and 10 teams. Do you fellas all like the fact that the 2 teams, I know McManus is going to disagree, he figures Hamilton should be here, but is the fact it's so competitive, is it reflective of the fact they're the 2 best teams in the regular season?
Yeah, and I think it's the best case scenario when you look at it. This is the best case scenario to have the best team in the West, play the best team in the East. It brings back the memories of '77, a lot of other great games in the history of the Canadian Football League, so I think it's a perfect match.
Eric?
Well, and I think Don Matthews made a very valid point last week when he said they earned the right to be here. Both of these teams won their divisional races. They played at home. I think being on the home field, having the huge crowd last week in Montreal, both of those had an impact, Brian.
You agree, Danny Mac?
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are the 2 top teams in the league. I mean, any other team that'd be here would be a fluke. So this is going to be an outstanding ball game.
Should be an outstanding game. We're on the air tomorrow afternoon. Danny McManus, Eric Tillman, and Glenn Suter. Happy to have him with us from TSN. Will be with me here to analyze and give you highlights before, during, and after the game tomorrow. Joe Moticki is with us. Joe Moticki from POV Sports. There's our man. Yeah, earlier today, having tea with Terry Baker. You're obviously a man of sophistication. What's going on down at Edmonton City Hall?
Brian, I am telling you, it is craziness. It is City Hall tailgate party. Everybody's been rolling, having all kinds of fun. Of course, we are pumped up for tomorrow's big Grey Cup. It is going to be fantastic. The fans have been going nuts all week. We got a couple of them right here. Now, guys, you guys have been pumped up all week. Where'd you guys make the trip from? Lethbridge, Alberta. How about you? Toronto, baby! Woo! They've been flying in. We've got people that have driven 56 hours to get to the jam. But if you want a serious Eskimos fan, need look no further than what we got back here. Hazel, come on in, Hazel. Hazel, it's crazy. Hazel, how long have you been a fan of the Eskimos?
I've been a fan since
1950. Who's your favorite Eskimo of all time?
Oh, Jackie Barker, Normie Kwong.
She's saying names I don't even know about. These people are going crazy. It's Grey Cup 2002 from the tailgate party.
Motiki's just a kid. I can remember when I was a youngster sitting here in Clark Stadium, the old Clark Stadium, watching Normie Kwong, Johnny Bright, Rolly Miles, and Jackie Parker when Edmonton met Winnipeg in a playoff game in about a foot of snow, and I think the temperature was -20. Good weather here. Shania Twain entertains tomorrow at halftime. Lots to come, including the Edmonton Dynasty, but right now a CBC tradition. Each year, the drama and the anticipation builds. Who will be named a Walby Warrior? With this year's edition of Walby's Warriors, here are Mark Lee and the aforementioned Chris Walby.
Of Walby's Warriors. It's the awards show that spurns the high-priced talent and the marquee showboats. To earn distinction as a warrior, you've got to have heart. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Lee with the big man, Chris Walby. And Chris, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years already recognizing a special brand of football player.
You know, I can't believe it's 5 years right now. The time has gone just like that. But the biggest thing is the decisions haven't gotten any easier. In fact, they've gotten harder and have had a hard time sleeping at night.
All right, let's talk about your criteria, how you arrive at a warrior.
Well, the biggest thing you got to look at is everybody like the media. The media guys look at the stats. They look at catches, look at sacks. I look at what you do on the 110-yard field. That's your auditioning part. You play through pain. You're a team guy. You're unselfish. You know what? And the biggest thing is never change. The #1 criteria, you got to have heart. That's what I look for.
It's amazing over the years going from stadium to stadium how many guys are coming up to you and actually lobbying to get on the Warrior list.
Well, I think it's humorous. I mean, Troy Westwood put a tattoo of my name on his chest. I mean, I had last year at the Grey Cup, Jamie Crysdale, before the Grey Cup game, walks up to me, wants to know if we announced the team. I said, listen, you got a big game right now. You got the cup. Worry about the cup. He says, you didn't pick me, because if you did, you'd have told me.
All right, let's go to our first category, guys who are near and dear to your heart, the Hoggies, the offensive line. These are the guys that punch the clock day in and day out. They put in a full day's work and don't get a lot of recognition unless there's a flag on the play.
You know what? You got 45 guys to pick from. I got to pick 5 of these guys. This is a very hard decision. I mean, I used to play the position, but the biggest thing is, Mark, I think I picked the 5 best guys this year.
Here we go. The Walby Warriors offensive line.
Let's begin with a Nova Scotian, Edmonton's Bruce Beaton, a 4-time Western All-Star. This 10-year veteran in his 5th season with the Edmonton Eskimos. Beaton loves staying right on top of the enemy. At 6'5", 280 pounds, that means a handful for most defenders. And from our other Grey Cup finalist, 6'2", 290 pounds, Brian Chu of the Montreal Alouettes. This 3-time All-Canadian from Vancouver has spent the last 6 years in the CFL, all with Montreal. He does it all for the Alouettes with the thinking man's approach to offensive line play. Winnipeg's Mo Elwanibi has been a Nigerian nightmare for CFL defenses the last 6 years. When you're 6'4", 290 pounds, this is the type of guy you want with you when you're leading the ground game.
Come on, Big!
Whether it's the run or the pass, he can destroy people. Big Mo, a force on the Bomber offensive line.
Let's go, D!
Big Steve Harden. This 6'6", 330-pound native of Washington is a huge reason why the BC Lions always have a great running game. A mountain of a man. He hates to be on the sidelines. He loves this game so much, why he'd play it from dawn to dusk. And back for another turn as a Walby Warrior, Montreal's Zumo Okeke out of Southern Methodist. Okeke's been a key mover for the Owls' ground attack once again.
What's up?
This 6'2", 290-pounder brings concentration and immense strength to the vocation. Hey, the results can often be devastating.
Great picks, Chris. The starting offensive line for the 2002 Walby Warriors.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I had any hair on my head, I'd be standing. Great selections.
Question, do you know how many fumbles there were in the CFL this year?
I don't know if I can tap my foot that hard.
254 fumbles. That works out to almost 2 fumbles per team per game in the league this year. And of the 6 teams that make the playoffs, who do you think had the dubious record?
I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me, Mark.
Edmonton and Montreal.
Wow, amazing stat.
Kind of calls for a pro tip on holding the ball. We might as well
Well,
go
I
to the
tell
big
you what,
man
there's
offense.
always been a complaint. Everybody's been saying the new balls are slippery. They bring the referees out, and what do? They bring out a little brush and a little water, a little towel. I'll tell you right now, bring out a piece of sandpaper. You rub the thing with sandpaper, you don't have to have a worry. Now grab that, big guy. You used to be a quarterback. Look at the grip you got on that puppy. Offensive lineman, always to the rescue. I'm telling you right now, that's why we're the marquee player now.
Take it from the man who brought Strunels to the CFL. Now he's brought sandpaper to footballs. All right, let's move on to the ball carriers, the running backs and fullbacks in this year's Walby's Warriors.
A bobblehead? I don't think so. Calvin Anderson, this 5'8", 205-pound dynamo out of South Bend, Indiana, the one bright spot on the Calgary offense all year long. A joy to watch, flowing, searching, hitting the holes, always moving the ball upfield. Anderson, tough. Let's take a look, breaking tackles. He's not afraid to take the ball and give away the ball. Doing whatever's necessary to bring his team to victory. And can he catch? Hey, whatever it takes to get the ball in the end zone. On the ground, going wherever he has to do, doing whatever it takes to move the chains, to put his offense in a scoring position. Calvin Anderson is a one-man wrecking crew down the sidelines or on the bench taking a well-deserved breather. This Calgary back is a tough man to keep down. Calvin Anderson, the shining light of the Stampeders this season. The undisputed champion, the Mack truck, they call him Mr. Thunder. The monster from the Midwest. Hey, when you want the tough yards, go with the Bombers' big man, Mike Sellers.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
6'3", 275 pounds. He's agile as well as powerful, and he usually ends here in the end zone. And special teams, Mike Sellers, a demon on the team downfield, always making contact. Hey, you gonna hit me? He says, I'm gonna hit you back. A great blocker, as well as possessing a sense of humor.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It ain't me.
A warrior, the stiff arm, back to the 50s. Running over you rather than around you. If it's through the air, he'll do it just as well. a true warrior, a punishing hitter, a man who refuses to be brought down. This warrior has a lot of heart.
They should have never gave me a chance. Should have never gave me a chance.
Mike Sellers. Does he love this game? Does he love the contact? Tell you what, just take a look.
So there are the starting fullbacks and running backs for this year's Warriors. The Bombers with a healthy presence so far on the program, I noticed, big man. Good picks, Mike Sellers. Can't complain about Kelvin Anderson, but a lot of people in this city are wondering, where's John Avery?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, John Avery would have been a pick. And the thing also, another one of the criteria is, I really look for you to hopefully play a whole season. John Avery, had you played, would probably had 2,000 yards rushing, would have really been hard to keep him off the list. But right now, I look at a guy that's got 8 1,000-yard rushing seasons in a row. That's Kelvin Anderson. And I know you don't like Calgary, but you got to love this guy.
Hard to deny that. Stay with us. The 5th edition of Walby's Warriors continues with a special guest. Montreal's quarterback hunter, defensive tackle Ed Fillion of the Alouettes joins us here at Shanks in Edmonton on the eve of the Grey Cup. Of Walby's Warriors from Shanks Athletic Club in Edmonton. Well, our first guest this afternoon is the man who will anchor the Montreal Alouettes defensive line in tomorrow's big Grey Cup game. He is a strong man, perhaps the strongest man in the CFL. He's got a healthy appetite for quarterbacks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ed Fillion of the Alouettes.
Ed.
Good to see you, Ed. Thanks for coming on board the show.
Listen, before we start, we know that you have a reputation of somewhat of a quarterback hunter, and Mark made me say this. Mark, being a former quarterback, is a little worried about this, and so I had you sign a waiver for him upstairs. There'll be no damage to Mark Lee today.
I was going to wear the red jersey.
As long as he doesn't put on the equipment, he's all right.
There you go.
Okay. And he's buying tonight, too. So.
That's right. Here we go. Well, along those lines, I got to ask you, you put Reggie Slack of the Argos out of the game in the first half of the Eastern Final with a tremendous hit. How pivotal do you think that play was in the outcome of that game?
Well, I mean, anytime you force a team to go to their second string quarterbacks, you know, most of the time they don't get most of the reps throughout the week. And, I mean, Reggie was on a roll, too. And he brings a lot of dimensions to that team that the backup doesn't. So, I mean, the more chance we get to him, the more we can disrupt him. You don't necessarily want to put him out, but you want to disrupt his passing and get inside his head as much as you can.
Right on.
You know what? I love it, but I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that quarterback garbage. You know as well as I do, the battle is won in the trenches. That's where it's won.
Yeah.
Now, you're going against an offensive line that thinks right now they had their best game of the season last week. What do you have to do, Ed Fillion, to negate that offensive line?
Well, I mean, we're an attacking style defense, and we have to get after them like we have the first two games. You know, we're aggressive, and we got to penetrate, get upfield, and try to make some things happen in the backfield that is going to disrupt the running game. We've been successful the first two games playing, stopping the run. I think last time we played them, we held Avery to 24 yards rushing. So if we can do that again and limit their game to just the passing game, I think we'll have a better chance of being successful.
That's beautiful. I got to tell you right now, I hear we have a question for you from the audience, and I just thought we'd go over here, and it's all about fan participation here at the Cup. We want to get everybody involved. Hello, nice to meet you, sir.
Good to meet you.
Your name and where you're from?
Noel Hinch, and I'm from Edmonton.
And you have a question for our guest?
Yes, I do. Firstly, bienvenue à Edmonton, Mr. Fillion. And I have a two-part question. The first part is, last week you had the benefit of the crowd noise behind your team. And what are you going to do to adjust to the crowd noise that you're going to get in the opposite side this time? And the second part of the question, and I want you to answer this as honestly as you can, how much of a lead would you give Chris Walby and still beat him in the 40-yard dash? What do you think?
Oh, we don't even want to go there. That's not a contest. He knows that. He knows that. I'm a skilled offensive lineman.
How about the crowd noise first? The tables are turned this week, though.
Yeah, I mean, crowd noise for defense really isn't that big of a deal. Offensively, though, we're going to practice our silent counts. If you watch Toronto's quarterbacks, they use some hand signals to wave the receivers up to get them towards the line, but quarterbacks usually either use a leg kick or some type of hand signal to try to avoid the noise and not hearing their snap count each week. And as far as the yardage, well, back in his day, I don't know if I had to give him much of a lead, but now, you know, I guess once you get out of the game, you slow down a little bit, but exactly how many yards, I don't know, maybe 5, 10.
God bless you for lying, Philly.
I got to ask you about the curfew that Don Matthews has imposed all week long here in Edmonton. What do you make of that? 10:30, is that what time you guys have got to be tucked in?
Yeah, well, actually it's 11 o'clock. The married guys, it's 10:30. They tell their wives it's 10:30, but actually it's 11 o'clock. And it was funny because in training camp he said, I'm not going to have a curfew on you all week. The only time we're going to have it in Grey Cup. And you know, you don't really think about it back then. That's 6 months ago. And then, so after we won on Sunday, he said, you know, I warned you guys back in training camp that I had one rule, and it was going to be a curfew on Grey Cup week. And you know, I think it's great. I really do. I think what it allows you to do is focus on the game. You're in by 11. You still hang out with the guys after that time if you want to hang out in their rooms. And this is a week that you should spend. It's our last week together. You should spend with your teammates and enjoy and take in everything that goes along with Grey Cup week. I know 2000 in Calgary we were out, and it was my first time at a Grey Cup, a big event like that. And you know, it was fun to go out, but I think it's a little bit of a distraction when you have all these things. So it's nice to have a curfew.
Well, Ed, thanks so much for coming down today. Good luck in tomorrow's Grey Cup game.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Ed Fillion of the Montreal Alouettes. And Ed, stick around because coming up next, it's the Warriors defensive line from Shanks here in Edmonton. Back at Shanks in Edmonton as the Warriors show rolls on. Mark Lee along with the big man Chris Walby. Well, tomorrow they'll play the 90th Grey Cup, Edmonton hosting Montreal, but this is also the 20th anniversary of the Edmonton dynasty that won 5 straight Grey Cups. And in honor of some of the rugged men on those teams, guys like Dave, Dr. Death Fennell, and James Quick Parker, we go to the defensive line.
Let's go to it. I've had an opportunity to see these guys. They're tough.
Doug Brown, the real golden boy of Manitoba. 6'7", 300 pounds, the total package. Wherever the action is, that's where you'll find Mr. Brown. And can he run? Hey, let's ask Damon Allen. He'll claw, he'll scratch, why, he'll even punch the ball out. Whatever it takes to help his team to victory. If you're playing Doug Brown, be prepared for a long day at the office. Also from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Denny Fortney. This second-year player from Maryland knows how to stuff the run. 6'4", 280 pounds. He's always around the football.
Keep moving the sticks.
Is he an athlete? This man can drop into pass coverage. He does it all. Whether it's stuffing the run or knocking down the ball, he's always looking for a battle. "12 years in the league, Alfred Payton, a.k.a. Swag the Sackmaster. 6'1", 230 pounds. He puts the freeze on the QBs. 3 times Payton led the league in sacks. This rambling, grabbling graduate had 16 quarterback kills this year. When Payton zeroes in on his prey, few are able to escape. Ed Fillion. This 6'3", 285-pounder from Essex, Ontario is known as the Hunter, the quarterback hunter. Fillion, in his 4th year with the Alouettes, is always making his presence felt in the offensive backfield, usually by introducing himself to the quarterback. Filion having fun as quarterbacks around the league are pushing the panic button.
Great picks, Chris. And how about Ed Filion? We talked about him hunting down quarterbacks this year. He got the Stanley Jackson, Nealon Green, and Reggie Slack all in 1 year.
Remember one else, 2000, knocking Kahari Jones out of the playoffs. I mean, they had a big chase. He comes down on interception, whack, knocks Kahari out. Winnipeg is no more.
All right, let's move on now to the real tough guys, the guys who punctuate every play on defense with a period, a painful period. These are the masters of disaster, the linebackers.
Brendan Iambadejo. Before you can say Brendan Iambadejo, he is on top of you. 6'3", 220 pounds, this CFL sophomore plays defense at breakneck speed. Taking on the big boys or tracking down the glamour boys. He does it all.
It's a real wild one today, I'll tell you.
Even Jimmy the Jet Cunningham is no match for the closing speed of Iambadejo. Looks can be deceiving. Out of Florida, John Amazing Grace had foes saying their prayers when they saw him coming. This 5'10", 215 linebacker spent 2 years in the Montreal practice roster before finally getting his chance to be an Ottawa Renegade. Grace was the Renegades' choice for MVP and the lightning rod on the Ottawa defense all year long. Carl, the Hitman Kid of the BC Lions. He loves to lower the boom. 6'1", 205 pounds man of steel, whether he's crunching receivers over the middle or ball hockey quarterbacks passes in the flat. He loves to do it all and take it all the way.
I want you to think about me.
I'm thinking he's BC's lethal weapon, the ringleader in the Lions' den. Iron Mike O'Shea, 6'3", 225 pounds, 10 years the man in the middle. Whether smashing the quarterback or stuffing the run, Mike is a force to be reckoned with. Touchdowns on special teams, or hey, what about intercepting a pass? He's everywhere on that football field, including spending a little quality time with the family. Mike O'Shea, ruler of the line of scrimmage. The secondary, the disruptors, the DBs. Malcolm Frank leading the way. He's been solid for the Eskimos all season, always pointing the way to victory. He's made the most of his opportunities to turn the tables on his opponents. A man on an island, Malcolm Frank, a force at corner. Hamilton's Rob Hitchcock. This 6'2", 200-pounder out of Hamilton is never too shy to throw his weight around. Hey, even old teammates suffer his wrath. Hitchcock finished in a tie in the league lead in interceptions with 8. Hitchcock's always been a headhunter. Now he's using his head. An excitable player who likes to make things happen on the football field. Hitchcock, Hamilton loves their hometown hero. Ladolphus McCullough, #1 in your program, #1 in Saskatchewan's heart. You've heard the old saying, good things come in small packages. Well, don't let this little guy fool you. Otherwise, he'll make you pay. on defense or special teams, always making a big-time contribution, Ladolphus McCullough. Montreal's Baron Miles. This three-time All-Canadian can definitely hurt you with the blitz. He's always around the football, recovering fumbles. And let's not forget the fact he led the Owls in interceptions with 6. And just for good measure, he added 3 blocked punts. Baron Miles, always happy to do his part. Harold Nash, like a fine wine, Harold Nash just keeps getting better with age. Nash may be 32, but he definitely hasn't lost a step. This 5'8", 180-pound defensive back can close down on the opponent with the best of them and make them pay. Always around the football, 0-0, zeroing on the target.
Interesting picks, big man, but where's Clifford Ivory of the Argos, who tied Rob Hitchcock for most interceptions this year?
I told you before, I'm not about stats. Not to say that Clifford Ivory has now an outstanding season, he really has. But I tell you what, you look at Ladolphus McCullough, you know what he has? 0 interceptions, so it's not about stats. I told you about that at the beginning of the show, Mark.
Right,
don't let me get Ed Fillion down here and give you a head slap.
All right, still to come on the 5th edition of Walby's Warriors, some special guests. The CFL sack leader, Alfred Payton, and the sure-handed Terry Vaughn of your Edmonton Eskimos. That's when we come back to Shanks Athletic Club here in Edmonton. We're on the home stretch in the 5th edition of Walby's Warriors. Mark Lee with the big man, Chris Walby, as we get set to honor the glamour boys, the quarterbacks,
the big money guys.
The receivers. I got to ask you about quarterbacks, though. I mean, would a guy like Nealon Green wearing the balaclava before the playoffs, would that rule him out?
No. You know what? One of the lot of things people say is, you know, I look at certain things. The only guys that I kind of frown upon, when you're a big guy like an offensive lineman, you got the natural body heat going, don't wear sleeves in the cold weather. Be a warrior.
All right, to the skill positions on the Warriors.
The rangy Derek Armstrong heads up the Walby Warriors receiving corps. In his second year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Armstrong is capable of running the precise patterns and has the speed to make him a constant threat for the deep ball. A real game breaker. And listen up, keep your head up when number 6 is on the field, or he will make you pay. Derek Armstrong, truly an inspirational receiver. Ben Cahoon, the 5th-year member of the Alouettes, outstanding does not begin to describe Ben Cahoon. When you're defending against this guy, you better know where he is on the football field at all times. Only 5'9", 185 pounds, but Cahoon plays much bigger than he looks. A clutch guy when you need him most. Hey, Don Matthews has given him the keys to special teams, so whether he's running a fake field goal or coming across the middle making a clutch catch, Ben Cahoon delivers in record-setting ways. The Owls' leading receiver, always finding a way to get into the end zone. The most valuable Blue Bomber this year was none other than record-setting Milt Stegall. This is Steagall's 8th year in the league, and he simply continues to amaze. Record-breaking speed, willing to go over the middle and take the punishment. And if he drops one ball, 99.9% of the time, he's going to take the contact and still come up with the big catch. 23 touchdowns this year, a new CFL record. Milt Stegall, truly a game-breaking receiver. The combination of Kahari Jones, to Milt Stegall is definitely a winning combination, especially when the man number 85 has a target on his back. Completing the receivers, hey, who else but Terry Touchdown Vaughn? Call him Mr. Consistent, as he produced over 1,000 yards receiving for the 8th season in a row. He can operate in tight quarters and always gets the job done. He's had 8 brilliant years in Alberta with the Stamps and the Eskimos. Always the go-to guy in clutch situations. Terry Vaughn loves the Battle of Alberta. It's always been one of his finest hours. This year's outstanding Warrior quarterback, Kahari Jones, the 6-year veteran, came up with another outstanding season. He set a Blue Bomber record, surpassing the great Matt Dunnigan with 46 touchdown passes. The leader of the Bomber offense is never afraid to pull the ball down and run when everyone is covered. Kahari Jones always pumped up to play another game in the CFL. He can take a licking, but he keeps on ticking. When you're this good, you've always got a target on your back. Getting out of tight situations is simple for the outstanding quarterback. Dang it! Never satisfied, always looking to improve on his performance. Kahari Jones doing whatever it takes to move the offense. Sitting back in the pocket, nobody there, take off, making something positive out of nothing. Excitement is what drives Kahari Jones, the 2002 Wallaby Warrior quarterback.
Wow. You pick Kahari Jones over Anthony Calvillo. Is this another homer pick, or are you going on stats?
You know, first off, there's no such thing as a homer pick. I know it looks like Winnipeg pulling for Winnipeg, but that's not. If I'm looking at stats, I'm looking at Kahari Jones 46 touchdowns. But if I'm looking at stats, I'm looking at Anthony Calvillo only having 10 interceptions. So throw that out in the garbage. That's not what it's about. Right now, what it was, Kahari Jones played behind a makeshift offensive line, a beat-up offensive line. He was beaten like a rented mule half the season and still threw 46 touchdown passes, and that's what I looked at.
All right, let's move on to the special teams category. It's one of the most hazardous positions in pro football, but here you've got to pick among returners, kickers, and cover guys. How do you do that?
Well, it's tough. I mean, you're looking at October and Stokes. You're looking at, you know, cover guys like Ian Badejo. But the biggest thing right now is I looked at a guy that did more than one job, who took on a new title. And the guy that we picked this year as our special teams player did just that.
Special teams warrior, next.
Game on the line, no problem, says Noel Prefontaine. He returned to double duty this year, adding field goals to already his strong punting game that saw him lead the league in the last 3 or 4 years. Prefontaine never shy to step forward and make a tackle, always willing to pitch in to do whatever it takes to help his team win.
Noel Prefontaine, a previous member of the Warriors, back on the roster again.
And it's funny you mentioned the fact that what do I do to cross out a guy? A couple of years ago, he was a Warrior, and I saw him wearing gloves and a hat on the sidelines with a big parka, and I actually crossed him off right there. But I tell you what, anybody can come on and never kick field goals and come out and have an 80% plus percentage and do the job he does punting the football. I had to look at him.
And that big 42-yard winner to put them in the playoffs against Calgary in the final game of the year. Stay with us, folks. The 5th edition of Walby's Warriors winds up with our final category. The ultimate Walby Warrior is when we come back. Saturday, the CFL on CBC as we get set for the big game tomorrow. Mark Lee along with Chris Walby as we continue with the 5th edition of the Warriors. And we've got some special guests coming up next. These are two of the most accomplished players at their positions in the CFL. They've been consistently the best. They're both Grey Cup champions. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alfred Payton and Terry Vaughn of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Big man.
Welcome, Terry. Thanks for coming on.
How you doing?
Listen, let's start with the sack master, Alfred Payton. What a year. It all started by getting released in Toronto. You make your way to Edmonton. You lead the CFL in sacks, and you're on your way to the Grey Cup. How do you account for such a reversal of fortune?
Well, coming out here with Edmonton has been a blessing in disguise, and so far, I really enjoyed myself out here. At first, I was saying I'd never go out west and play, but it's really been pleasant in playing with these guys like Terry, and I really enjoyed myself this whole year, and have an opportunity to play in the Grey Cup after not getting there in 7 years. It's really been a blessing. I'm looking forward to it come Sunday.
Good for you.
You know, I got a question. I could talk to Alfred all day, but I got the big man here. Every year, 1,000 yards receiving, touchdowns, touchdowns, touchdowns. But you know what, an interesting fact. Last week I find out what's going on here. First playoff touchdown. What's happening with that, and what's going to happen this week?
I don't know what's going to happen this week, but yeah, that was my first touchdown last week, and I had a few good playoff games in the past, but just never got it in the end zone. So hopefully I can change that this week.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you about that. I mean, you're a picture of consistency. 8 years in the league, 4 Calgary, 4 here, every time over 1,000 yards. I mean, to what do you attribute your consistency?
He nut up, quiet, can't play under pressure. That's what happens to them kind of guys.
No, I would have to say I take care of myself in the off season. I really do, and you know, I stay in shape year round, and I think that's what it takes. You know, a lot of guys don't, and you know, for the guys that do, it goes a long way.
Listen, guys, if you got a minute, I know there's some fans here at Shanks that'd love to ask you a couple of questions. Chris?
Mark, we got a question, and you are?
Gina Williams.
Gina, and you have a question for who?
Alfred.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, you are known as the quarterback killer. Do you think you could sack Anthony Calvillo?
Well, I tell you what, that's definitely what I'm looking forward to doing. I know it's a big play, and it would definitely help the team out. I'm looking forward to getting to him early and often. We're going to bring this Grey Cup back to Edmonton, and this is where it belongs, and this is how we're going to do it.
Alfred, I had to break her heart, though, because originally the question was, are you married? And I said, yes, he is. Yes. So I broke her heart. But I believe we have another question. Let's go over and find this other young gentleman. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
Your name?
Carl Nett.
And you have a question for?
For Terry.
All right.
Yeah. Terry, I was wondering if you think the natural grass at Commonwealth Stadium will work in the Edmonton favor on Sunday.
I think so. You know, we're used to playing on it, and actually that was one of the reasons why I came here to play in Edmonton. Playing on grass, I think that's the way football should be played, and you know, it's going to be to our advantage. You know, Montreal plays on turf, and their turf isn't all that good, but it's tough for other opposing teams to play on that, and it's tough for opposing teams to play on grass.
Great answer.
Well, listen, guys, You beat the Jinx in winning the Western Final. Now you got to beat the one team that beat you at home this year, the Montreal Alouettes. All the best tomorrow in the Grey Cup game.
Thanks for coming on board. Appreciate it.
All the best to you.
Oh, thanks.
The big
Touchdown.
The big man.
Stay with us. The Warriors continue. Back at Shanks as we reach the moment we've all been waiting for, the ultimate Walby Warrior. Mark Lee with Chris Walby, and the big man has picked his team for 2002. Now the ultimate Walby Warrior as selected by our viewers of the CFL on CBC.
You know, I love this selection because I absolutely had nothing to do with it. It's one of those ones I don't have to worry about getting any hate mail. This was chosen by you, the viewers, and you know who the winner is, Mark? Why don't you tell the viewers who the winner is?
Defensive tackle Denny Fortney of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Joining us via satellite from Winnipeg, welcome Winnipeg Blue Bombers defensive lineman Denny Fortney, this year's Walby Ultimate Warrior. Congratulations, Denny.
Thank you very much.
Well, listen, I know it's been a great year for you guys out in Winnipeg. You were the hottest team down the stretch, winning 6 in a row, and I'm sure you're probably still coming to grips with that tough loss in the Western Final against Edmonton.
Yeah, we sure are. You know, we're proud of ourselves for the way we fought through the second half of the season and the second half of the game, but the cards didn't quite fall our way this year. Hats off to Edmonton. They played one heck of a game, and you know, we're going to wish them the best of luck in the game.
Hey, Denny, it's Chris Walby calling you. Just want to tell you something. It's fantastic to have you online. We appreciate the time. Listen, congratulations on being the Ultimate Warrior. I tell you what, the voting, and I got to tell you, I don't know if you have family up in Canada, but the voting wasn't even close. How does it feel?
It's great, especially in a profession where you're critiqued all the time, to know that from the other side of the coin, I mean, there is a good side that the people, you know, appreciate what you do out there on the field, and you know, it's a real honor to receive an award like this.
Well, I know it's been a tough year to end the way it did for you in the Western Final, but as an individual, you had 7 sacks this year to lead the Blue Bombers, and you were a real menace in the trenches. All the video that the big man here has showed us shows that you were doing everything down there for the team. How did you feel about your season?
You know, I couldn't be happier with the bunch of guys that I have around me. You know, we're all biased, but I personally think we have the best front 7 in the game right now. And the guys around me make things happen for me, you know, as much as I can for myself. You know, I got guys like Doug Brown and Wayne Weathers and Ogie Breckerfield pushing up the field, and all I have to do is hustle up and clean after those guys sometimes.
Denny, I tell you what, I hear that you're making moves to move up to the northern climate of Winnipeg. We may be neighbors. What's with that, and what's in store for 2003 for Denny Fortney and family?
Yeah, we just did move up here. You're actually in my home. The children are downstairs, and we're looking forward to our first winter. As I'm speaking now, we have snow coming down, which we're not really used to, but I think we're going to enjoy, especially with the kids.
Well, Denny, to commemorate your selection as the 2002 Ultimate Walby Warrior, we have this handsome memento that you can put on your mantelpiece in Winnipeg and savor the moment for a great year and a great pick, Chris.
Beautiful piece of Bohemian crystal. You're going to love it. I wish I had something like this. I may just have to go get an etcher and change the name.
Before we go, Denny, you going to watch the Grey Cup?
It's going to be tough, too, you know, because you still have those hurt feelings. But, you know, I wish everybody the best of luck, and I'm certainly going to be tuning in because I think the CFL has the best game around.
Well, keep your chin up, have a great offseason, and good luck next year with the Blue Bombers.
Thanks again, guys.
Denny Fortney, this year's 2002 Ultimate Walby Warrior. That's great for Denny Fortney of the Blue Bombers. Chris, another Warriors roster is in the books. Interesting selections. 13 of your Warriors did not make a CFL All-Star team.
I told you at the beginning of the show, there's no such thing. I don't follow what media follow. We make our own decisions. And I'll tell you what, I'm not letting you get off the hook so easy because you helped me make some of these decisions.
All right,
it's a tough job.
All right, let's show the fans what each one of the Warriors will get for their selection this year.
Well, these are very beautiful watches, and basically they're, as you can see on the face, it's Walby Warriors 5. They'll be engraved with the player's name and the year on the back. Definitely a keepsake for years to come.
Great. Pleasure working with you again this year on the Warriors.
As always,
Yep.
Good to see you.
Now back to Brian Williams at Commonwealth Stadium.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris. We are back live on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock local time here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. If you are just joining us, good afternoon. I'm Brian Williams. Still to come, joining me live here in the studio will be Tom Wilkinson, the great quarterback from the Eskimos, Dan Kepley, Huey Campbell, Warren Moon from Los Angeles. We'll talk about the Edmonton dynasty. Some breaking news, the Canadian Football League finally has its act together, and in 90 minutes from now at 4:30 Mountain, we'll name the former president of Adidas Canada, Tom Wright, as the new commissioner. I will have a live report in Saturday night with Ron McLean prior to hockey. Then after the Philadelphia Maple Leafs game and before the Red Wings and the Oilers here in Edmonton, Tom Wright, the new commissioner, will join me live here at Commonwealth Stadium. Still with me this afternoon from the Ticats, Danny McManus, the general manager of the Renegades, the old Renegade himself, Eric Tillman, and the defensive specialist, Glenn Suter, on loan here from TSN. Let's look ahead again to tomorrow's game. And Danny, you always like to talk about quarterbacks. What about the special relationship of quarterback? I know Wilkinson had a lot of special relationships. He's here in the studio, but special relationships with receivers.
It's kind of like a quarterback receiver, like a security blanket. That's one thing a quarterback looks for. Who can I go to? Who's my go-to guy? Look at Kahari Jones. He has Milt Stegall. Myself, I would go to Darren Flutie. But what's different about Anthony Cavillo is that he's got a bunch of security blankets. He has guys catching balls all over the place for him. Ben Cahoon can go up and get a ball. You got Darren Hall that he throws the ball to quite a bit. And then the guy that pretty much most explosive around there is Pat Woodcock. I mean, he's going down, getting balls out there, making some great catches, but then making some moves to get the extra yardage. So I think what Anthony has is a ton of security blankets, and he's going to use them best he can.
And two of those security blankets are Canadians, which is rare in the Canadian Football League. As a general manager, you'd love to have two good Canadian receivers. What about defense and then the Edmonton receivers?
Well, you know, I think with all the focus on Montreal's offense this year, Brian, people forget the fact that the reason Montreal's in this game is because of their defense. They have an in-your-face, all-blitz mentality. They come after you. We saw the effect they had last week on Toronto. They couldn't handle the pressure. They made quick decisions and bad decisions, and Montreal rolled them. I think, interestingly enough, Edmonton has the weapons to hurt this Montreal team if they come after them. The key is how do they utilize them? Guys like Hervey, Brazel, Tucker, Avery, not a bad football player. If they get the ball to those guys in space, they can make plays. But the key is to handle the pressure. I think if Edmonton's going to win offensively, they have to do two things. One, they have to move the pocket. They have to buy some time for the quarterback. I think that's essential. And the other thing is make quick decisions. Get the ball in the hands of the playmakers.
Those are the glamour positions.
Pretty boys.
Yeah, pretty boys.
Yeah.
It's easy for you to say, Sue.
Hey, I talk defense.
We can talk. I mean, Wilkinson's here. He says, I'm not a pretty boy, and I was a quarterback.
That's true.
There's another area to this game that could be key.
Well, special teams, and they're made up of special people. In some cases, some different people when we're talking about the kickers. Actually, two solid players and solid veterans kicking in this football game. Sean Fleming for the Edmonton Eskimos, of course, Terry Baker for the Montreal Alouettes. But when it comes to kicking, this game is all about mental. It's about 99% mental. And in a game of this magnitude, the pressure is on the kickers. From the time the ball is snapped till the time it's kicked, 1.3 seconds passes. They have to make decisions in a hurry, and in a game like this, it always has to be the right decision. Terry Baker has the other added pressure of the fact that he wants to go out and end his career, possibly like maybe Louis Pasaglia did back in '94 when he kicked the game-winning field goal to win it. This will be his last game, and he'd like to win in style.
You were a defensive player. Share with the viewers, new people at home, Dan Kepley came in here earlier. He'll be here in just a minute. And you said to Kepley, it looks like he could still play. Explain what he said.
Well, he came in and he said, look, I can play, but I only have 3 plays in me. 1 series, he said, and then he goes, 3 plays. 3 plays for a defensive player. Yeah. That's 1 series. For an offensive player like Danny, that's like 8 or 10 plays. But for a defensive player, 3 plays and we're out of there, baby.
Danny Mack, Eric Tillman, and Glenn Suter from TSN. Look forward to working with you tomorrow afternoon before, during, and after the game. Just a reminder, Jim Popp, the very successful general manager of the Montreal Alouettes, he took the success in Baltimore, unbelievably made it happen again in Montreal. He'll join us in just a few minutes prior to the Edmonton Destiny or Edmonton Dynasty. But right now, is he ready, Joe Moticki? I think he's ready down at Edmonton. There's our man down at Edmonton City Hall. Joe, what's happening downtown?
I'm telling you, it is crazy. We are still here at the tailgate party. I have got the Harry Ainley Titans cheer team. Gonna work out a little cheer for you. Tell me how you like it. Here we go. Wallabies Warriors is the best.
Wallabies Warriors is the best.
Put the others to the test. knows we're on CBC.
Everybody knows we're on CBC.
Ryan Williams looks better than me.
Ryan Williams looks better than me.
Grey Cup.
Grey Cup.
I said Grey Cup.
Grey Cup.
Grey Cup. Let's go. Whoa! The Harry Haley Titans helping me out. And here's the Grey Cup tail party. Brian, you got all kinds of fans, brother. Back to you. Back to you. Yeah!
Before we go to commercial, that's Joe Moticki, who's a great ad for Tim Hortons Coffee and did a great job here this afternoon. Joe, we thank you. By the way, you know, we're all having a good time here. You saw the crowd with Joe Moticki downtown. How about the job this city's done? The awards on Thursday, I think the best award show I've seen in many, many years. Everything's well attended. Congratulations to the city of Edmonton. We take a break. When we roll on live from Commonwealth Stadium, Jim Popp of the Montreal Alouettes as Grey Cup Saturday continues. And on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon here in north central Alberta, there is the best football-only stadium in this country. I remember being here when it opened for the Commonwealth Games way back in 1978. Tomorrow afternoon at 5:30 Eastern, 3:30 here in the Mountain Time Zone, the Montreal Alouettes and the Edmonton Eskimos. 9th meeting in the Grey Cup between these teams. We've had to move out the three analysts and bring in the general manager of the Montreal Alouettes, Jim Popp. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You had great success in Baltimore. I don't think people, I didn't realize till we started talking, I'd forgotten. You had those two great teams in Baltimore. Now you moved to Montreal, and you got to work under different rules. You had essentially an American team down there. How did you continue the success?
It was a process. I mean, first of all, people don't realize we lost 14 guys off that team in '95, the Grey Cup champions, to the NFL. We only had 12 guys from that team that actually played in '96 for that team, and we did everything we could to get as many Canadians as we could on that team in '96. And the league's got their act together this year like they did for Ottawa. It wasn't that way in '96. We still have not gotten players from some teams going back that date.
I'm old enough to remember the Rifles, Sam Echeverry, and the great teams that played in Montreal prior to the decline of football. Was it hard getting people to play in Montreal, and they said, sure, 7,000 or 8,000 fans, it'll probably last for a year? Was that tough for you?
No question after the success we had in Baltimore, but we knew it was going to be a gradual process. There were football fans in Montreal. We just had to turn them on to the game again, and it was going to take a process. So, you know, we had very good teams for 2 years, and we still didn't have people coming out to see us. But we did a lot of things. Larry Smith got out in the public. We did a stay-in-school program and got out to the kids. And it just eventually grew, and then when we got kicked out of the stadium to play a playoff game downtown, then all of a sudden we were discovered, and it's taken off from there.
You can't say enough for what Larry Smith has done, can you?
Well, he did a great job of doing the cheering and rah-rah in town, and he's that type of person. He's a great promoter. And we needed that at that time, and he did a great job with that. And but it was a very hard work for the whole organization to get out in the public and really turn the public on to football. And, of course, television and the whole process of winning helped the whole situation.
You know, the general manager, you did a good job. It's easy to talk about Larry Smith, but you had an owner that came up. I mean, I'm amazed at how he stayed out, kept his nose out, let you guys run it, yet he spent money.
Well, Bob said from day one, until it was a viable business, he would never let anybody step in and help him. To this day, it's a viable business now, and he still hasn't had anybody help him. He has spent a lot of money. He's a great owner. He's a very loyal man, and everything he said he would do, he has done. And we have bigger and brighter things for the future ahead of us, and we're still growing.
I was in Montreal last Sunday afternoon, of course, with Danny and Eric. We did our pregame show from there. As I looked up at the stands, you know what amazed me? Knowledgeable fans, but you've got young, you've got old, and you had both French and English. For some reason, you've been able to reflect the city. That's not always possible in other cities.
Well, I tell you, we really have worked hard to try to have that. And, again, we got a great fan, a knowledgeable fan. Their football was there in Quebec, and we've just helped it take it to another level, along with everything else going in Quebec. You know, University of Laval drawing 19,000 a game, the small programs that are going on. I would dare say right now that Quebec has the biggest amount of kids playing football in the country.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Probably people in Saskatchewan would say, hold it, just a minute, on a per capita basis, maybe we have more players, but no question, CJEP all the way through in Quebec, it's huge. You made an interesting comment to me before we went on the air about the big crowds. Forget the Alouettes last weekend. They had other big crowds in Montreal.
Yeah, I was at the junior championship, the Hilltops and
Saskatoon.
and St. Leonard, and there were actually more people at that game than there were at the McGill University of Saskatchewan game. And that just goes to show you what's going on in that city. It's just a huge amount of football fans that are thriving, and it's great when other teams in the country are doing well. Laval, Concordia's had a great year. McGill had a tremendous season this year, and they've gone and represented even at the Vanier Cup the last few years out of our province.
The resurgence in the CFL, I think, is mirrored by the success in Montreal. I think Montreal's had a tremendous impact here to be congratulated. I got to ask you one question about tomorrow. It seems to me, I think the Eskimos can win without Avery. I don't think Alouettes can win without Calvillo. Is Anthony Calvillo healthy?
He is definitely healthy. He has not missed a beat this week. He's gotten progressively better from day one, and we've tried different braces, different tape jobs, and he feels great, and he's ready to roll.
I understand. Should you win this game tomorrow, you guys might consider opening the season with a special game at the Big O before going back downtown. Is that
That's
right?
possible because we're trying to get the renovations done at Molson Stadium. But we know what we missed out on 2 years ago. So hopefully, if we can get it done this time, then we got a big parade waiting for us at home.
You'd like to start a dynasty? Hey, there's been a dynasty here. Been several dynasties here in Alberta. Jim Pop, thank you. We will deal with the Edmonton Eskimos dynasty. 5 straight Grey Cups. Hugh Campbell, Dan Kepley, Tom Wilkinson here in the studio. Joining me live via satellite from Los Angeles, Warren Moon. Stay with us back live in Edmonton right after this. Gorgeous city and a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. And on this gorgeous Saturday afternoon here in north central Alberta, we are back live at Commonwealth Stadium. Someone just said to me, I think our producer Joe Scarcelli, says it's not a football only. I said it's the best football only stadium. All right, it's for soccer and track as well, but it is without question the best stadium in this country. If you're just joining us, good afternoon from Edmonton. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to Sports Saturday. The new commissioner will be named in about an hour and 10 minutes from now, Tom Wright. I'll have a live report with Ron McLean prior to the first hockey game, then between the Leafs and Philadelphia, and prior to the Red Wings and Oilers here in Edmonton. The new commissioner, the highly respected Tom Wright, former president of Adidas Canada, will join me live here in the studio. Speaking of live, I see Hugh Campbell, I see Dan Kepley, I get Tom Wilkinson, the svelte, young, in-shape quarterback, and standing by in Los Angeles, Warren Moon. We'll talk about the Edmonton dynasty. You know, speaking of dynasties, this puts Edmonton's 5 straight Grey Cups into perspective and what a great job Campbell and company did. In the last 20 years in this league, one team has won the Grey Cup in back-to-back years. That was the Toronto Argonauts in 1996 and 97. 97 was in the stadium. So what an accomplishment. 5 straight Grey Cups beginning in the late 1970s. Right now, the Edmonton dynasty. And here's our play-by-play announcer, Chris Cuthbert. Chris?
Offense, defense, toughness, coaching expertise. Edmonton had it all during a 5-year period when they ruled the CFL. The ultimate football dynasty. What better place to relive the grand accomplishments of the 1978 to 82 Edmonton Eskimos than here at the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. An unprecedented 5 Grey Cup titles for the Green and Gold, and to think the roots of this dynasty grew from one of the most lopsided losses in Grey Cup history, the 41-6 defeat to rival Montreal in 1977. Hall of Famers Fennell, Kepley, Wilkinson, Moon, and Cutler, and a glittering supporting cast would respond to that defeat and forge a legacy of domination. Another prime catalyst was Coach Hugh Campbell, also enshrined here at the Hall of Fame. He surrounded himself with an innovative coaching staff, including Cal Murphy and Don Matthews. The Eskimos seeked revenge and redemption as they began to write one of the great chapters in CFL history, taking to the field at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto for the 1978 Grey Cup game. That revenge would entertain a sellout throng at Exhibition Stadium.
It is 2nd and 8. Edmonton at the Montreal 27-yard line.
The offenses struggled early in the 78 championship game. Edmonton's Tom Wilkinson under pressure. Lateral to Jim Germany, who couldn't hang on. And Chuck Zapek pounced for the Alouettes. Montreal returned the favor when Edmonton's Greg Butler strips the ball away from David Green. And Dr. Death Dave Fennell was there to gain control. Leading 3-0, Dave Cutler lined up for a field goal. But instead, Wilkinson flipped the ball to Tom Scott, who ran for a first down on a nicely executed fake. 2 plays later, Jim Germany cashed in from 2 yards out as the Eskimos built their lead to 10-0 and 14-3 at halftime. It's 17-3 late in the third quarter when Germany lost the handle and Gord Judges recovers for the Alouettes on the Edmonton 10. Joe Barnes calls his own number and with some help from Pat Bonnet gets into the end zone, reducing the Edmonton lead to just 7 points. Within 4 with 2 minutes left, Sonny Wade tries for Bob Gaddis, but Larry Highbaugh knocks the ball away. Less than a minute remaining. Dave Cutler is good from 25 yards out to make the score Edmonton 20, Montreal 13. The Eskimos have their revenge. The Grey Cup is heading west to Edmonton. For a third year in a row, Edmonton and Montreal met in the Grey Cup game before 65,000 at the Big O. The crafty Tom Wilkinson started for the Esks and made the Alouettes pay when he avoids the rush and found a wide-open Waddell Smith for a 43-yard score. It looked easy, but it was the only touchdown of the half.
Wide open, it was ridiculous.
Montreal was limited to a pair of Don Sweet field goals, and league MVP David Green was shut down here by Tom Towns. The Eskimos hounded the Alouettes' Joe Barnes all day. Dale Potter providing the sack on this occasion. But Montreal was just as stingy. What looked like a Wilkinson completion here is stolen away from Brian Kelly by high-priced linebacker Tom Cousineau. After much discussion, the turnover stood. So too did the animosity between the two clubs. This Grey Cup rubber match had turned into a nasty war.
Well, nice things being said already. This is a bloody grudge match, I'll tell you right now.
The Eskimos brought more pressure against Barnes. Dan Kepley with the shoestring tackle for the sack. But the Alouettes hang on, trailing by just 1 point.
For that Edmonton defensive unit in this first half.
Don Sweet gave Montreal its first lead with his third field goal midway into the third quarter. Edmonton's Hugh Campbell then decides to make a change. Warren Moon enters at quarterback to hit Tom Scott for a 33-yard score.
Wide open, touchdown!
Edmonton on top again and builds the lead to 17-9 on a Cutler field goal. The critical play comes with 2 minutes remaining. Montreal's Keith Baker fielded a punt and suddenly finds a wide open field full of opportunity.
Keith Baker.
Baker would take the ball 85 yards to the Edmonton end zone, but a penalty flag was on the Olympic Stadium carpet. The apparent touchdown was being wiped out on a clipping call against Jerry DiTilio, much to Coach Joe Scanella's displeasure. DiTilio for clipping, nullifying the touchdown. The last gasp for the Alouettes ends when Dickie Harris is tackled on this kick return.
He's all wrapped up and so
Hugh Campbell and the Eskimos celebrate their second straight Grey Cup triumph over the Alouettes. Edmonton becomes the first back-to-back winner since Ottawa in '68 and '69.
So let's play football.
1980 in Toronto, the Hamilton Tiger Cats Day was foreshadowed on the opening kickoff, fumbled by Obie Graves. Leading 3-0, the Eskimos marched 94 yards for another score. The big play, this completion to Danny Jitterbugs, good for 55 yards. Jim Germany will crash over for the touchdown, as Edmonton built a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. A pair of Bernie Ruoff Hamilton field goals cut into that lead, but the Eskimos responded quickly. Warren Moon took the Eskimos on another long drive, and he was a major factor in the ground attack. It set up another Germany plunge to build Edmonton's lead to 17-6 with just over 4 minutes remaining in the half. A Joe Holloman interception gave the ball back to Edmonton, and Moon delivered the backbreaker into the hands of Brian Kelly. Kelly put the Eskimos up 24-6 as he eludes the defense and gets the ball into the end zone.
That was a great pattern. What was the particular call?
Something we've never run before. I just asked Warren to throw me a pass. You know, I'm getting kind of tired of not getting any ball.
Edmonton's defense sparkled to start the second half. Dale Potter, outstanding all day, knocked down a pass. The linebackers took over. Tom Towns stripping the ball loose for this turnover. And middle linebacker Danny Kepley stifled the Ticats' attack with a sack. Edmonton pulled a fake punt early in the third quarter as Neil Lumsden rambled for a 48-yard gain. That set up a 19-yard touchdown catch by Tom Scott as Hamilton played into the Eskimos' hands.
Touchdown, Edmonton.
We knew when they got behind, they'd start blitzing a lot of people, and one-on-one, we just don't feel they can cover our receivers. And if our linemen are picking up the blitz like they are, it makes it pretty easy for me to hit our receivers because they're open.
Tom Wilkinson came into the game with the Eskimos up 41-10. He found Scott once more for Scott's Grey Cup record third touchdown reception. There wasn't any doubt about Edmonton's third consecutive Grey Cup triumph. When impatient fans stormed the field, the game was called with 4 seconds left. Edmonton Eskimos, the dynasty years, on Sports Saturday, will continue after a timeout for these commercial messages. In 1981, Olympic Stadium hosted Edmonton and the Ottawa Rough Riders. The Riders, just 5-11 during the regular season, 22-point underdogs to the mighty Eskimos. No one figured they had a chance. Except Ottawa quarterback J.C. Watts, who called on Tony Gabriel to drive deep into Edmonton territory, setting up an early Jerry Organ field goal. The Riders also showed signs that Warren Moon and the high-powered Edmonton offense wasn't going to have an easy time. Moon was also hurried, creating mistakes. Rick Sovieta with the pick. The Edmonton offensive brain trust realized changes were needed to contend with the Riders. Up by 13, Sam Platt's churning run results in another Ottawa score and a stunning 20-0 Rough Rider lead.
The question has to be asked, who are the guys in the white sweaters?
You know, JC he's a good rollout quarterback, and he's rolling out sometimes, and you know, he can run the ball pretty well. You know, so with him being such a good quarterback, anything can happen.
Late in the first half, the Eskimos sent in Tom Wilkinson, who connected with Neil Lumsden for a nice gain to the Ottawa 26. When the drive stalled, the usually reliable Dave Cutler missed from 24 yards out. It was Ottawa 20, Edmonton 1 at halftime. In the third quarter, the defense got the Eskimos on track. They came out hitting. Dan Kepley rocked flat to set the tempo for the second half. Then James Quick Parker sacked Watts, and Dale Potter made the recovery.
Eskimos at the 3.
Ottawa's George Brancato could sense the momentum shifting.
We're trying to overcome our mistakes and play as a team. Maybe we came out a little bit too much individually minded. Now you're going to see us gel as a team.
Warren Moon led the Eskimos to a pair of third quarter touchdowns, cutting the lead to 8 before Lumsden took off on a fourth quarter scamper towards the Ottawa end zone. Lumsden came up just short, but the Eskimos were knocking on the door. A Moon sneak made the score Ottawa 23, Edmonton 21. On the two-point convert, Moon escaped to find Marco Sincar, and the game was tied. Edmonton had come all the way back.
I think the momentum's coming our way, and I just hope that we can pull this thing out.
2nd and 10, Ottawa.
With under 2 minutes to go, Watts connects on a big completion to Tony Gabriel in front of defender Gary Hayes. But a controversial double pass interference call negates the play. The rare decision stalls Ottawa's final drive.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I'd call it either way because they were both going after the football.
It's a ruling that would be debated for years to come. Taking over on the Ottawa 50, the Eskimos move the ball on the ground and into scoring position.
Now, do you go for the three-pointer or do you kick it out of the end zone?
Dave Cutler was sent out to win the game with a 27-yard field goal. This time, Cutler made no mistake. Edmonton 26, Ottawa 23, as the Eskimos survived a near disastrous first half to rebound for their 4th consecutive Grey Cup title, a feat never accomplished before.
Consecutive Grey Cup.
Exhibition Stadium was cold, wet, and windy for the 1982 Grey Cup. Hugh Campbell's last as a coach in the CFL. After falling to last place by Labor Day, the Eskimos went on a roll, winning 9 straight before meeting the Argos. Toronto was led by MVP Condredge Holloway. Down by 3, Holloway would hook up with Emmanuel Tolbert, and the speedy receiver turned it into an 84-yard touchdown. It was the start of a wide-open back-and-forth exchange by the two clubs in the first half. Just 14 seconds into the second quarter, the Eskimos regained the lead. Warren Moon to Brian Kelly. The Argos immediately answered. Holloway getting the ball to Terry Greer. Argos now up 14-10.
Well, right now, the guys up front and the linebackers, we're just not going where we're supposed to be going, and when you give Holloway time, he'll kill any defensive back in the league.
Midway in the second quarter, Edmonton's offense has its turn again. Moon to Kelly, this time for 41 yards. And the Eskimos were on top once more, 17-14. A driving rainstorm throughout the second half curtailed the team's offenses. Late in a scoreless third quarter, the Argos looked to have a long gain on a Cedric Mitter reception. But Edmonton's Gary Hayes strips the ball, and Dan Kepley recovered and brought it back to the Argos 34. Much to the chagrin of Bob Obilovich, the Argos head coach.
Kepley came up with the football, and the Argos are protesting.
9 plays later on a third down gamble, Lumsden hit and spins for the back-breaking score. Edmonton was up 26-14 with just over a quarter left. The Edmonton defense then seals the victory.
We weren't getting enough pressure on him in the first half, and we straightened that out at the half, and now we're getting a little more pressure in containing Holloway. That's the key, I think.
The Eskimos.
Holloway wasn't getting any time to find his receivers as the relentless Eskimo pressure gets to him again. Dave Cutler would add the finishing touches for the Edmonton dynasty with his 4th field goal. It gave Cutler a Grey Cup record 18 career field goals and assured Coach Hugh Campbell's squad of an unprecedented 5th CFL championship, this time over the Argos.
I accept this Grey Cup on behalf of God, my teammates, and Eskimo fans everywhere.
In the 82 season, the Eskimos won their final 10 games to go from last to the top once again. During their 5-year reign, they defeated each of the 4 Eastern teams at least once in a Grey Cup championship. Their logo, the double E, it could stand for Era of Excellence, an era the likes of which we may never see again in Canadian football.
Thank you, Chris. Live at Commonwealth Stadium, not only a great organization on the field, off the field, the one organization that hasn't been whining and complaining over the last 20 years. Up next, we'll talk live with Warren Moon, Hugh Campbell, Tom Wilkinson, and Dan Kepley as we roll on live from Commonwealth Stadium. Live shot of Commonwealth Stadium on this Saturday afternoon. Oh, it's a great day for football. Tomorrow should be right around freezing. Clear skies predicted. This city has done as usual, a great job with the festivities all week. Just a reminder, Ron McLean will join me prior to the top of the hour. I will have a report on hockey tonight, the CFL, in about 45 minutes from now, maybe 40 minutes from now. We'll name Tom Wright, the highly respected former president of Adidas Canada, as the new commissioner. Wright will join me live here in the studio after the Maple Leafs and the Flyers and prior to the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. As promised, joining us from Los Angeles this afternoon, he'll work the Fox or CBS radio game, I guess, Monday night, 49ers and Eagles, along with Marv Albert. Warren Moon. Warren, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And in the studio, the architect of those teams, Hugh Campbell, the quarterback, one of the two quarterbacks, Tommy Wilkinson, and the great defensive player, Dan Kepley. Let me begin with you, Hugh. I was reading, and is this true? After the 77 game in Montreal, the Staples game, when you lost to the Montreal Alouettes, on the plane back home, a Charlie Turner said to you, "You'll never be a success, you're too nice, we need to take more penalties."
Well, that, and also that we didn't have any extra things in our shoes that day. He said, "You probably wouldn't have done that." So it worked out. Charlie was probably right. I was just meaner than he realized, that's all.
That true, Wilkie?
Yep.
That's energy.
Tom always had a lot to say. Now, what I wanted to ask Wilkinson before we go down to Los Angeles to talk to Warren Moon is, I guess your toughest job bringing along a young quarterback like Moon was trying to get him in shape like yourself.
Yeah, and I gave him a schedule and things to do when he was down there, and I just talked to him, and he said he's going through a big buffet tonight, so he's doing it right.
Dan, what was so special about this team? Abilities there, but it takes more than ability.
Well, it does, and I think one of the things that we prided ourselves on would be a close-knit family, and we genuinely got along very well on the football field, obviously, but off the football field, and it went way past the players. It went to the wives were close, the mothers and fathers, the children, and things like that, and we really instilled that strength, and that's what got us through some really good times and some bad times.
Warren, in Los Angeles, do you remember I talked to you in Seattle a couple of years ago? We did a feature on black quarterbacks. I mean, you come out of Washington, to the state of Washington. You don't get a chance to play in the NFL. How special was it to come up here and be recognized for your ability as a quarterback?
Well, I think that's why I enjoyed playing up there so much, is because I was judged just by how I played the game. And I was looked at as an individual on that football team that had some talent, but I was just one part of that great machine that we had as a football team. And like Danny said, we were close on and off the field. So when it came to really crucial situations in football games, we pretty much had a look at each other that it was time to turn it on, it was time to get it done, and we had that much confidence in one another.
Speaking of getting it done, Hugh, for those people that don't remember back, what changes, what did you do differently to start after the 77 game when you were hammered in the Staple Bowl by Montreal? You fly home, you're disappointed, you don't know you're going to start winning 5 straight. What changes did you make? Was it mental? Was it personnel?
No, I think it was just an ongoing process. We went through that year and got better as the year went along. We were a pretty good football team by the end of that year, although in our game against Montreal we didn't show it. The week before we'd played excellent football against BC Lions, who had really tied us in the standing. So we were coming strong, and I think it was just the development and having more and more depth. We had really good football players, and a lot of them weren't starters, and so we could mess around with who's in the lineup and make some changes and also just grow. And people like Warren Moon, if you can believe it, was playing behind Tom Wilkinson for a year. So, you know, that's that was a situation where Warren had the chance to learn and observe and come along slowly, and he had the best leader on our team to be his kind of special advisor.
We kid Wilkinson. He's an outstanding leader, Warren. I remember him in Toronto as well as Edmonton. What was it you learned from Tom Wilkinson that enabled you to have the career you've had?
Well, first I tried to get my body to look like his. I
knew that was coming.
That was the toughest thing that I tried to do. But aside from that,
other than physically,
Wilkie was he was a student of the game, and what I really enjoyed and really got used to was every day before we played an opponent, we'd sit down and we'd watch film, myself, Wilkie, and Bruce Limmerman, who was our other quarterback. Right. And these two guys had so much knowledge of the league, so much knowledge of personnel, and they would sit down and just pick out who the guy we wanted to work on this week, what type of routes we wanted to run against certain defensive backs. And because of all the knowledge they had of all the different personnel and the different defenses they played against over the years, that experience was just a wealth of knowledge for me as a young player, and the way they actually sat down and broke down a defense every week.
Tom, Warren talked about you helping him. Listen, I mean, it's tough. I don't care if you're a broadcaster, football player, anyone. Some young guys coming along, you knew the ability he had. You knew he'd eventually take your job. Tough to sit down and help someone like that?
No. Well, first of all, Warren is an exceptional young man, but he's also very talented. And when you're old and getting older, you've got to look at it. And I was the one that felt lucky I was getting to play. So. And I learned some things from him. We had a pass play that the year before he got here, I never used it once. The first year he was here, the first exhibition, because I didn't think it would work.
What was the play?
54-55 search. It was a play action pass. And in the exhibition game against Calgary, he runs it 7 times, completes it 6. I started using it, became my favorite play. So he mentored me a bit too, but it was just enjoyable. And knowing that he was such a talent that you didn't mind sharing or just getting to play a little bit with him.
Somebody mentioned, I think it was you, Warren, in Los Angeles, Lemmerman. People forget that Lemmerman was a big part of this organization, right, Warren?
He really was, because they were a 1-2 tandem before I got there, and Bruce, again, was another student of the game that really helped behind the scenes and ended up becoming a coach, and now he's a scout in the National Football League. But just a very, very astute player of the game, and really understood what it took to win football games and what it took to attack different defenses.
If I could just interject that also Bruce was the best, and nothing against these two, he was the best I've ever been around as a backup quarterback on the bench, helping, sincerely helping with genuine help for the quarterbacks that are on the field.
Let's talk defense. We have to go to commercial, but before we do, I want to talk defense. I mean, has there ever been a tougher defensive player period in this league than Dan Kepley? We've talked about the motivation and the leadership when the Eskimos had the ball. Who inspired you people? Who was running it defensively? Talk to us about the coaches, some of your fellow players.
Well, the first year in 1977 when Coach Campbell came in, he brought this little-known guy named Don Matthews in as a defensive coordinator, and I think he came out of California in a high school system down there. And Coach Matthews showed right from the very beginning what an intelligent man he was with X's and O's, and he didn't come in and say, here's my system, you have to run this system. He came in and took a very good look at what we could do individually, our assets, our weaknesses, and he designed a defense around what we could do, and it worked extremely well.
When you won in Montreal, you're quoted as saying, is it right on the plane home, I'd like to see, we won a Grey Cup in Montreal, I'd like to see the Alouettes win a Grey Cup in Edmonton. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, to win in their city.
Well, it always was, and for us being from Edmonton, in those days, all of our Grey Cups were played away. It was either Montreal or Toronto, so we were always in somebody's home field or an Eastern home field. To be able to have an opportunity to play a Grey Cup in Edmonton here, like you said, with 65,000 people, this is just a great thrill.
Should be a great weekend. We got a lot more to come. Stay with us. Our panel will return. Warren, if you can hang on in Los Angeles. We roll on. You're watching Grey Cup Saturday live from Commonwealth Stadium here in Edmonton. Commonwealth Stadium as we approach 4 o'clock on this Saturday afternoon. Great facility in a city that has had a tremendous history, very successful history with football in the Canadian Football League. Just a reminder, in about 35 minutes, they're naming the new commissioner, Tom Wright. I will have a report on hockey. And speaking of hockey, Ron McLean joins me prior to the top of the hour. In Los Angeles, as we talk about the Edmonton dynasty, the dynasty, 5 straight in '78, Warren Moon, what makes this city so special? I mean, you're out of Washington State, you've played in Houston, you live in Laguna Beach. What is it about this city of Edmonton that attracts players to stay and just seems to create such good organizations?
Well, I think the people there, first of all, they just kind of embrace you because they're all sports fans. They all have a tremendous amount of pride in that city. And there's a lot of tradition and heritage that go along with the Edmonton Eskimos and now with the Edmonton Oilers hockey team over the last 10 or 15 years. So the people, they really expect you to do well, but they also embrace you to do well. And they always treated me with the utmost respect and with a genuine warmness when I was there with my family. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that's what the other players get from the people in that city when they come in there. They get a population of people that really have a lot of tradition. And then you have an organization there, led by Hugh Campbell, who has done a great job of keeping consistency within that organization.
Warren, you said Hugh Campbell is the Canadian Football League. When he won the Commissioner's Award, he's kept it alive for 25 or 30 years. I'm going to speak now to Tom Wilkinson. I want to get back to you in Los Angeles in just a minute. How important has Hugh Campbell been in this organization? The fact that it's the one organization you never hear about financial problems. They're not crying and whining about going out of business. Is it Hugh Campbell?
Well, that's because he comes to me to borrow money all the time. Yeah, I think it goes along with what Warren said. I mean, Coach Campbell is the one that was here when this 5 in a row got started. I mean, he coached 6 years in this league, and all 6 times he went to the Grey Cup and won the 5 in a row. And he knows what tradition is about. Obviously, he knows how to win.
But it's about more than winning. Tom, you've stayed and coached in this city. Dan has stayed here. He's coaching with the Argonauts. It's away from the field. There's a magic here.
Well, but I think in fairness, like Warren said about the city and how they make you feel so welcome, but at the same time, when you're winning, it's easier to feel like I can settle down because there isn't airlifts. We made changes, maybe anywhere from 3 to 6 changes a year from one year to the next, but it was usually retirements or somebody got injured, and so, but there weren't the air flights in where they were always making changes during the season.
Dan Kepley, I mean, you're here regardless. You had such great ability, but how important was it to you as a star player to know that the supporting cast around you or your teammates would be basically the same from year to year?
I think that was a huge key to our success in the sense that we were able to play together, like Tommy Towns on one side and Dale Potter as my other outside linebacker. We lined up as a trio for 8 years in a row, which is unheard of these days. 8 years. Guys came in here, and as everybody has mentioned, the city, the organization, the coaching staff, the facilities, everything that we had, Coach Campbell gave us the best. He gave us the best of everything that we had. And he said, now, all I need you to do is play football. Do what you do best.
Hugh, it's easy to look back, and I know you're a humble person. The players will all attest to that. But did you have a plan as far as stability? I mean, what they're saying, was that in your plan, or did that just happen?
Our plan was to always look at how we could improve the team. You mentioned the 3 linebackers. We signed Bill Manchuk, who was an all-Canadian linebacker playing for Saskatchewan. We signed him with Edmonton to join that group. So when one of them took a breather, we had a guy that was equal to them coming in and playing, and that was our idea. Rather than to worry about team morale and make sure that the backup knew he was a backup, we tried to always have the best players we could have and keep building and never be satisfied and just always hungry to get better.
A short amount of time. Warren Moon in Los Angeles, can I ask you, the key to success in the Canadian Football League, I've always believed it shouldn't be compared to the NFL. It should be sold for what it is, a distinct, exciting entity. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I think what we had is the consistency that they talked about. We've made very few changes from our core group over that period of time. And then our Canadian League players, our Canadian players were good players. And we didn't have to use offensive linemen sometimes, imports on the offensive line. We could use our imports at the positions that we needed to use them in because our Canadian players were so solid across the offensive line. Our linebackers, like they talked about with Tom Towns and Dale Potter and Bill Manchuk, those are reasons why we were a good football team, I think, as far as a personnel.
Very quickly, Dan is a veteran. The CFL, what do you see now? Things are shaping up, still problems in Southern Ontario, but do you feel better about the league now?
They talk about problems every year, and somewhere at the end of the year, everything looks pretty good, and I think it's going to continue to look stronger. A new man heading up the ship and running as a commissioner, and this league is going to go forward and probably put some great entertainment on the field.
Tom, would be nice to see the league respect its tradition as much as the Eskimos do. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, and I think that the last couple of years especially, that it's really pulled around, and you see it with the attendance growing and getting corporate sponsors growing and everything else, and getting Ottawa back into the league, and so I think they're all putting their part into it, and I think it's the best football being played. It's very exciting. Go to the NFL with 2 minutes left in the game.
All right. Thank you, Dan Kepley. Wilkie, thank you very much. Hugh Campbell. Warren Moon in Los Angeles, thank you. Good luck on the broadcast Monday. Hugh, Commissioner's Award winner. Good choice for Commissioner, by the way, the new man, Tom Wright?
I think it's going to be a great choice. It really looks like a good one, and everything's on the way up. He's joining us at a good time.
Thank you, guys. Stay with us. Ron McLean up next. We'll look ahead to hockey as we continue live from the Grey Cup City. Back live at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where tomorrow afternoon at 4 local, 6 Eastern, it'll be the Montreal Alouettes and the Eskimos in the Grey Cup. As promised, Ron McLean joins me. He'll be hosting Saturday night from out on the field in just a minute. What's Wilkinson?
I know, the nerve of me to come in and take Hugh Campbell, Dan Kepley, and Wilkie off the air. There's no chance. Tom, you want to say hi to somebody first?
Well, yeah, but I can take your partner's spot, but nobody can take yours on that show. I'm glad you're back.
Wes.
I wanted to say hi to Kristen and Katie and Josh and Jordan and Cato and Ben.
All right.
And then I also wanted to say Warren Moon is the best quarterback that ever played in this league.
Tom, thank you very much. Very briefly, what's coming up on Saturday night, Ron?
Well, Brian, first let me just say about Tom Wilkinson. The most nervous I ever was to do, I know we're really tight. He came down for a Heart Foundation event in Red Deer. I was scared to death. I loved Wilkie and Dave Cutler in the Edmonton Eskimos, and he and Wes Montgomery was a sidekick in the business. They always brought this sense of self-deprecation, but to see him take charge every day, I feel bad about Wayne Smith taking you with a point.
Now listen, we got just about 10 seconds. What's coming up on Saturday night?
Philadelphia, Toronto, we're going to look at obstruction in the NHL. I know we like to investigate the tough stuff, so we're going to look at whether Andy Van Helleman's referees are doing the job or if there's too much unsportsmanlike conduct. And we're going to find out the new commissioner. You're going to interview him, so Brian, it'll be mainly you.
Tom Wright will join us between games. Don Cherry called in and says he's a better dresser than Tom Wilkinson. Ron McLean in about 34 minutes from now. Our thanks to Wilkinson. Joe Motiki is somewhere. Joe Motiki downtown Edmonton at the tailgate party at City Hall. Joe, come on in.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders pep band here in Edmonton, Alberta for the 90th leg of the Grey Cup. We're still here at the tailgate party. Very, very excited to have the band as well. We've got a fan from every CFL city. They've all got a story. Now, Toronto fan, your jersey's been autographed. Absolutely. What's up, Canada? Who you got autographed? Oh, man, it's got to be Pinball Clemens and Paul Mazzotti back in the day when Toronto ruled the CFL. Go Argos! Go Edmonton! Nice! Now, Winnipeg fan, why you dressed up like AC/DC, bro?
Well, because they play some AC/DC after every touchdown, and I want to hear it next year in Regina. Go Bombers, go!
Nice! Now, you traveled 560 kilometers from Montreal.
Yeah. Yes, Joe. I did 56 hours of driving by bus. I had free tickets to take the plane, but I'm scared of the plane, and I did it by the bus because I love the Alouettes, and we're going to go and get the Grey Cup!
That's right. All right, now tell me something, BC fan. Have you worn this outfit for Damon Allen yet?
Oh, no, but I'd like to.
All right, let's hear the war cry. That's what I'm talking about. It's the tailgate party. CFL, baby.
Had about 10 more cups of coffee. Joe Motiki, thank you very much. Ron McLean, we'll see you in 30 minutes with Saturday Night. Tom Wilkinson, thanks. Thanks to Hugh Campbell, Dan Kepley, Warren Moon. We've had a cast here today, Danny McManus, Eric Tillman, Glenn Suter. Just a reminder as we say goodbye on this Saturday afternoon from Commonwealth Stadium. Let's show you the schedule tomorrow. Don't forget the pregame show and, of course, the game between the Edmonton Eskimos and Montreal. We're on the air at 1 Mountain, 3 Eastern. The kickoff is at about 4 Mountain at about 6 o'clock Eastern. The Edmonton Eskimos and the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow in the Grey Cup live here in CBC. For all of us, hope you enjoyed it. Again, Ron McLean Saturday night coming up in about 30 minutes, followed by the Flyers and the Leafs. I'm Brian Williams for now.